So when you think about that, and one thing that you shared with me that was an essential that we have used is that those people, you ride the river with them. And what does ride the river with someone? What kind of qualities or values do you need to have, or would you want for a person that you will be willing to ride the river with? And why is it, secondly, I mean, maybe it's more important, why is it important to ride the river with somebody?
Well, I can, from personal experience, that old Canadian river didn't have a lot of water in it, but that water moved through the sand. So if you go down in the morning to the bed of the river and you see cattle tracks going into a place across the little stream of water, and they don't come out the other side, that cow felt something and she backed up. So you don't cross there because it's quickie. And just because you can cross there in the morning doesn't mean you can cross there in the afternoon, because that quicksand moves through that sand. So you learn, first of all, you learn to judge your own limits about where you can cross and where you can't cross. But if you get in a bog, you need somebody you can depend on. You need somebody who's trustworthy and loyal to you and is willing to help you get out of that bog. So to say that there's a man you can ride the river with means that person is trustworthy and loyal. You can depend on them. So you want to be that same kind of person because you want that other guy that you're riding with, and you never ride in that river country by yourself. And you ride the best horse you got, and one that's sensitive and can feel the ground. So to be the kind of man to ride the river with is still the best thing you can say to a cowboy. Say, I can ride the river with you.
It's amazing. And it's the story that we tell our kids, because and with relationship to how they can depend on each other, from band and football and whatever the sport or whatever the fine art might be, you know, having the dependence on each other is vitally important. And without each other, well, it's not going to be as effective.
One other thing that I like to think about is I told my share of the load. That is another thing Mother always taught me. Always share the risk, and you'll share the rewards. But always carry your share of the load. And my granddaddy used to say, tote your share of the load.
So do you have a story about that? Because I've got the stories that I've had to carry with loading hay and hauling hay and doing all those kind of things that were there. I mean, sharing your share of the load sometimes is a tough one, right? Especially when someone else is having a hard time.
And even sometimes when it's not pleasant. You know, you'll find things that, I mean, you were talking about bucking hay a while ago. That's not a pleasant job.
Oh, no.
But if you're on the ground and somebody's depending on you to throw that hay up on the wagon, then you need to tote your share of the load. Because if you don't get your hay bales up there in time so they can do their job, then you're not only hurting yourself, you're hurting them.
That is probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do. And consequently, I wasn't very good at it. And stacking and being accurate and doing all those things was really hard. And, you know, you're right. And requiring and relying on those people, even the guy driving the truck. I mean, all you do and all that you're on the flatbed, it's a very difficult task, isn't it?
And if we put it in today's lingo, if you're on a football team and you forget where you're supposed to run in that play and where you're supposed to be when the ball's thrown, you're not toting your share of the load. You're taking care of your responsibility.
True.
And that's your job to be in the place where the ball is going to be. Or it's your job to block somebody so the runner can go around you. It's your job to catch that ball in right field. So
now I'm going to ask you this. When you were in Phillips, did you beat Dalhart every year, right, in football?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I know that's what they said, that how good y'all were. Growing up in Phillips in high school and Dalhart High School, we were maybe lacked a little bit in our ability to do real well. But